Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. In our previous video, we discussed bilingualism, that is how individuals and societies use more than one language. Today we move to another important topic from Unit 4, Block 6 of MEG 4 aspects of language, that is language standardization. In this video, we will understand what is language standardization, why it is necessary, how it develops, what are its consequences and the criticism against it. So let's begin the topic. In India, we have many languages and dialects. Even within the same language, people from different regions speak differently. We must have observed it. Now, imagine that every school follows a different grammar. Every newspaper uses different spellings and every government office writes the same language differently. Would communication be easy? Probably not. To avoid such confusion, societies gradually develop one commonly accepted variety of a language. This variety becomes the standard language, and the process through which it develops is known as language standardization. Language standardization provides a common form for education, administration, law, literature, media, professional or official communication, and wider communication. So we can say language standardization is necessary as languages naturally shows enormous variation. If we take the example of English, there are so many varieties of English, but we use the standard variety, that is the accepted variety of English. Similarly, with Hindi also, there are so many varieties of Hindi, but we use the standard accepted variety of Hindi. We find regional dialects, social dialects and different styles of speaking. This diversity is natural and enriches a language. However, when a society needs a common language for education, administration and governance, some degree of standardization becomes essential. Language standardization creates that kind of oneness, that is unity and conformity, making communication easier across different regions and communities. Let us now discuss the specific needs for language standardization one by one. For scientific description of language, that is a standard language helps linguists study and describe a language scientifically. When grammar, pronunciation and spellings are standardized, it becomes easier to analyze and teach the language accurately. Creation of textbooks and primers becomes easier because if every textbook follow different spellings or grammar system, learning would be confusing. A standard language ensures uniformity. Creation of discourse in various disciplines. Like researchers need exact terms or terminology of words to describe data, especially in science and medicine. That it is possible when we use the standard language. It also applies even to all other disciplines also. Next is dissemination of knowledge, that is sharing. Knowledge can spread more easily when everyone understands the same standard form of the language. Books, newspapers, journals and digital media becomes accessible to large number of people. And it is possible through standardization of language. Education and literacy. Education becomes more organized. Schools and universities can teach one standard variety, helping students develop reading, writing and communication skills more effectively. This also promotes literacy. A sense of unity and identity. Even though people may speak different dialects, they feel connected through one common language. It often becomes a symbol of regional or national identity. Standardized language helps in proper and smooth functioning of law and order. It also helps in easy governance. For example, administration becomes easier when government offices across different regions use the same standard language. policies, official letters, and public communication becomes more effective. Standardization of language helps in interregional or international communication. It helps in modernization and national development. As society advances, new ideas and technologies emerge. A standard language provides a stable foundation for expressing these concepts and sharing knowledge with future generations. So it helps in modernity, stability and development on the whole. Now, after we discussed about this needs of language standardization, now we will come to the process of standardization. When the standardization of English took place, it is important to mention major historical milestones like Wycliffe's translation of the Bible into English, Caxton's establishment of printing press in England, and Dr. Johnson's Dictionary of English published in 1755, etc. Apart from such events, the process of standardization involves 4 stages, which is proposed by Einar Haugen. And these 4 stages are selection. First, we have to select the standard variety. Second is codification. Then elaboration of function and acceptance. We will discuss one by one. Selection. The first stage is selection, means choosing one variety among many varieties spoken by people. This selected variety becomes the basis of the standard language. Now, is this selection always neutral? No, the selected variety is often associated with the influence of political, economic or cultural power. In other words, the dialect spoken by influential or powerful groups has a greater chance of becoming the standard language. So selection is not merely a linguistic process, it is influenced by social and political factors. For example, Standard English is developed from the dialect used around London, which was the political and economic center of England. Similarly, Standard Hindi was selected because of its wider administrative and educational use after India's independence. So, now we will come to the next process, that is stage 2, which is codification. Now, after we have selected the standard variety, codification takes place, means establishing and fixing the rules of the selected language variety. At this stage, language experts prepare dictionaries, grammar books, pronunciation guides and spelling conventions. This ensures that everyone follows the same rules. For example, dictionaries standardize spellings, grammar books explain sentence structure, and pronunciation manuals provide guidance on accepted pronunciation. As a result, one variety becomes the accepted reference point for education, administration, literature, and official communication. This codified form is often regarded as correct or standard variety, while other varieties may be regarded as deviated from this standard variety. Now that the language has been selected and its rules have been fixed, the language must now be capable of serving different functions in society. This is the third stage, that is elaboration of function, which means expanding the use of the standard language. Normally, we do not use the standard language in informal contexts, such as in places like home, the neighborhood, etc. But in formal public domains like education, administration, law, science and technology, literature, media, and other specialized fields, standard language is a must. As society develops, new inventions, ideas emerge. So new words, technical terms must also be created so that the language can meet the needs of the modern society. New words and new terminologies are formed drawing upon classical sources. For example, English draws much of its technical words from Latin and Greek, while for Hindi the source is Sanskrit. Elaboration of function also requires the creation of new styles of discourse, such as business English, diplomatic English, etc. Now, after this stage, after the function, next we have acceptance. That is, standardized language is recognized and accepted by society as the common language for public communication. People begin to use it in schools, colleges, government offices, courts, newspapers, television, books, official documents. Gradually, it becomes the prestigious variety of the language and becomes national or regional identity. Now, so far we have discussed why language standardization is needed and how the process of standardization takes place. Now, let us look at what happens as a result of this process. That is the positive as well as negative consequences. Benefits of standardization are it gives a community a distinct linguistic identity. For a social group, a region or a nation, a state, a standard language can become a symbol of separate identity and even a token of independence. So language is not merely a means of communication. It can represent the identity and unity of a community, whether it is a region or a state or a nation. Next is wider communication. It makes communication easier across different regions and dialect areas, as we already discussed earlier. When people speak different dialects, a common standard variety provides a shared form through which we can communicate and connect more easily. Smoother governance is possible. Like a standard language makes administration, official communication and the sharing of information or dissemination of information more efficient. It provides a common linguistic medium for institutions and government. The standard language becomes a pedagogical ideal, that is a common model for teachers and learners, and helps in easy access to education and knowledge. Writers, scientists and thinkers can use the standard language to produce books, journals and other forms of scholarly work. Print and electronic media also makes extensive use of the standard form for news, views and opinions. So standardization has many positive consequences, but there are negative consequences also. We will discuss it. Elite dominance, like standardization can become an instrument of elite dominance. Only those who have greater access to it may gain greater social power and economic power. And it can exclude people who do not have sufficient access to the standard language. Such people may face disadvantages in education, employment and participation in social and political life. Next is stigmatization of dialects, means looking down upon non-standard varieties. Speakers of dialects may be described as uneducated, illiterate or uncultured. This can lead to loss of confidence in one's own dialect. People may begin to feel ashamed of the way they naturally speak and even abandon their mother tongue or local variety in the pursuit of the standard language. Inequality. It creates social divisions and inequality. Now, there is always a thought which arises in this context. That is the standard language really the only proper form of language? This we will know in the critique of language standardization. The major criticism is that standardization is always associated with power and prestige. It can only reinforce existing power structure rather than benefiting everyone equally. And the majority of them are excluded. Many people may not have equal access to it due to many reasons, whether it is due to social, political or economic factors. As a result, the majority may struggle to enter areas such as formal education and professional life. And the myth of the proper language is created. It may be treated as the only correct form while others are simply non-standard. This is the kind of logic that we see in the statement given by R.A. Hudson, where standard English is treated as a language while varieties not used in formal writing are categorized as dialects. And we can say non-standard varieties are not empty or inferior forms of speech. They can carry their own belief systems, creativity, cultural values and insights into life and society. Finally, standardization may help reduce vagueness and ambiguity, particularly in formal communication. but standard varieties may sometimes lack the charm, earthiness, and distinctive cadence, means you can say naturality, rhythm, that we find in dialects and non-standard varieties. So we can conclude that standardization is useful for formal education, administration, wider communication and the production of knowledge. But usefulness does not mean superiority. We should recognize the value, identity and cultural richness of non-standard varieties. With this, we come to the end of the topic. I hope the explanation has helped you understand the topic. So please do like, share and subscribe to the channel, and thank you for watching this video.